out by committing sins. Because the knowledge of Allah, the knowledge of the deen is light from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And sin will extinguish this light, will cause this light to fade away. This is the advice Imam Malik gave to Ash-Shafi'i. So we said that the origin of all goodness, it is life in the heart and light. With these you can make it to paradise. Sins destroy both. So we have to keep away from that. Sins will cause the light to blemish and to fade away, and it will affect the life of your heart. So your heart will be ill, will feel less powerful, will lose its power, will lose its energy. This is why sins are very serious. And sins actually are like rust. You know, when something gets rusty, it loses its beauty and its shyness, and it loses its ability to fulfill what it was done for, and loses its beauty. The same applies to the heart. Now the problem with sins, no person does a sin except that he expects some kind of benefit to come to him from that sin. People actually do the sin because they expect so much joy from it. A person commits adultery, riba, and they drink alcohol, they do different sins. Why? Expecting some joy to come out of that. But real joy is not in that. Real joy is in avoiding these sins. So the problem with sins, they are tricky. They are full of deceit. They deceive your heart. That's the problem. And the more sins you do, the more deception there will be introduced to your heart. And what will happen? Your heart will get used to deception. This is why it will lose track of the reality of things. When sins repeatedly are pointed at the heart and are targeted at the heart, what happens? The heart will get used to them. Then the heart will only recognize that pattern of sin. And we said sin is about deception. Just as happened with Adam and Eve. Shaitan said to them, eat from that tree and you will become either an angel or you will become immortal. You will live forever. But in reality, this tree doesn't do any of these things. So sins all follow the same example. A sin is a lie from Shaitan. He gives you the hope, it gives you the impression that you're going to have so much joy after doing this sin. But that's a lie. The real joy is in avoiding this sin. So this is the problem about lying. The more your heart becomes accustomed and becomes used to and so familiar with the sins, the more it will take to the pattern of deception and lying. This is why the scholars always said, Al-ma'siyatu baridul kufr. Sins are the sure way. They are the way leading to kufr. Why? What is the meaning of kufr? Kufr, we said in the Arabic language, means to cover something, to cover the truth. And this is exactly the case of a heart that reaches kufr. Why? Because the truth is in the heart. Originally, Allah put it in the heart. But it's covered. The truth is covered because the heart is used to the sins, and the sins make the heart familiar with deception. So the heart becomes only capable of recognizing one pattern, which is deception. Covering the truth and giving a wrong facade or a false shape or a false looks. And this is exactly the meaning of kufr. The meaning of kufr is something good in the outer, but in reality it covers so much evil or absolute evil within it. This is why kufr is covering. It means in Arabic covering. This is where it comes from. The truth has been covered, and so its shyness is lost. Its beauty and life is lost. It doesn't show. No one can see it. Whereas kufr has been shown in a beautiful way, but in reality from inside it's so evil, so destructive. So this is why sins are very harmful to the heart. So once we understand this, actually it should lead us and should urge us to keep away from sin. Because by falling into sin, you are mistreating your heart. You are deceiving your heart. You are subjecting your heart to a very serious illness, which is deception and lies. Now imagine you have your own child. Everyone is so keen to have a good upbringing for his child. Even if you want to find somebody to babysit your child, so a teacher for your own child, a school, you make sure that you get the best people. Why? Because you need someone to take good care of your child, to teach them the right things. Your heart is more precious than your child. Because your heart is corrupt, you will lose yourself and you will lose your child. So don't put your heart, don't entrust your heart to sins which are so deceptive and so tricky, and in reality they are mere lies. And we said the heart always takes to patterns. So if you repeatedly and consistently subject it to sins which are mere lies, your heart will be only to tell lies. And the problem, this actually leads to the state of the heart being covered with that black veil of which is called rain. Rain in the Arabic language. It is rain, it is that black veil. And once your heart is wrapped with that black veil, it cannot see the truth. It cannot see the truth. And it will only see mirage. It will see things as they not really are. You will lose the ability of defining the reality of things. This is what sin leads to. This is why you find the people who are so much attached to sin. You try to show them the truth. You show them the verses from the Qur'an, the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. You prove it by logic. They can't see it. They can't see it because the heart has become familiar with the way of deception. So they have no control over it. Shaitan has taken control of that. And now they are paying the price. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect our heart and to help us keep our hearts away from sin and away from that evil pattern of deception and lying. Until we meet, inshallah, in future episodes with new secrets about the heart that we will try to uncover and benefit from. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.